Hello, everyone. Jim Biringer here, NHLRumors.com. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video. We're talking about Brad Marchand, the Florida Panthers, and the impact he's had on this team since the NHL trade deadline. Look, you can go back to the NHL trade deadline and look at the most impactful players from each conference, from the West, from the East. I don't know if many people had Brad Marchand on that list, considering he was dealing with an injury at the time of the trade. He really didn't look great at Four Nations for Team Canada. Hadn't had a Brad Marchand type year for the Boston Bruins this past season. He still put up decent numbers, but he wasn't the guy that we'd known and seen for a long time, making an impact on the ice every night. But again, the Bruins were in a down year. Well, he gets traded to the Florida Panthers. And what does he do? Well, come the playoff time, Utu Listerainen, Anton Lundell, and Brad Marchand have been the best line for the Florida Panthers in this run right now. In Game 7 against the Toronto Maple Leafs, that line combined for 7 points. Brad Marchand had 3 points. He improved to 5-0 against the Maple Leafs. He has 10 points now in Game 7, 4 goals, 6 assists. 6 assists is tied for the most in Game 7 with Evgeny Malkin. He continues to make an impact. It goes back to his days with the Bruins in 2011. Remember, go back to that Stanley Cup final against the Vancouver Canucks. Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron each had 2 goals. Marchand had an assist. He had 3 points in that game as the Bruins won their first Stanley Cup since 2011. He continued to deliver in the biggest stages, in the biggest moments for the Boston Bruins, and he's doing it right now for the Florida Panthers. This series changed in the favor of the Florida Panthers in Game 3. Toronto controlled much of the first 3 games, and let's be honest, Marchand and Listerainen and Lundell, they were a factor, but they weren't a factor like they were the second half of this series. Game 3, that line delivered, and Brad Marchand delivered in overtime. The Maple Leafs had a chance, up 2-0 in the series, up 3-1 in the game. Panthers rally. It's overtime. Sergei Bobrovsky finds his game, stops Nye, stops William Nylander, stops Matthews, stops Marner. And a fluke shot from Brad Marchand off of Morgan Riley's butt pant goes past Joseph Woll. And the series is, well, it tips in favor of the Florida Panthers. They dominate in Game 4. They dominate in Game 5, 6-1. They kind of took a step back in Game 6. Toronto played a good road game, but they couldn't do it again. And Marchand delivered again against the Toronto Maple Leafs like he did in Boston those previous 4 times. 2013, we know about that 4-1 loss for Toronto. 2018, 2019, last year. Again, he knows in the big moments, in the big stages, he steps up. I don't think a lot of people, like I said, thought the impact would be there. You know, Seth Jones, again, another impactful player. You know, we always go to the hot shot superstar like Mikko Rantanen in the Stanley Cup playoffs and what he's doing for the Dallas Stars. But he's doing the little things. He's showing a different side of personality that maybe you didn't know he had in this series. Again, he downgraded his work ethic and his wins against the Toronto Maple Leafs because he said he grew up a Toronto Maple Leafs fan and he always rooted for them. But he just loves the big stage and loves the big moments. And he said there's a lot of pressure on these guys in Toronto and they're going to get crucified. And it's not right. It is a different team, but it's the same old story. And Brad Marchand's a part of it. He's a part of this core force history, and he's the reason why Toronto doesn't get past this round because he delivers. He has that it gene, that clutch gene. When comes Game 7, series clinching game, he steps up. He looked like his old self. He was skating, he was moving, he was having fun, and he's playing with young guys, and he's getting a chance to win again. I think that's what he wanted. He wasn't getting that in Boston. They move on for Brad Marchand. He's in Florida. Paul Maurice is utilizing him to perfection. Again, on that third line, he replaced Vladimir Tarasenko from a year ago. This dude, all he does, man, is just score goals, score points. 37 points now against Toronto Maple Leafs. 13 goals, 24 assists. Just unbelievable in 35 playoff games. It's what he does. That's what he does against Toronto, and that's what he does in the playoffs, period. He makes an impact. Did it against Tampa, did it against Toronto, look to do it against Carolina. Could the Florida Panthers go back and repeat the way they've been playing? Sure, why not? It's going to be tough against Carolina, but Brad Marchand loves playing against Carolina too. Look what he did in 2019 with the Boston Bruins against that team. So again, he's got history against this team. It wouldn't surprise me if he steps up again with this third line and delivers for the Florida Panthers and send them back to the Stanley Cup final. Jim Biringer here, NHLRumors.com. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back again real soon. Take care.